Hi, this is Greg with Lionquestfitness. I had a unique question and comment on one of my older videos the other day. And it asked the question, what gun would Conan the Cimmerian, aka Conan the Barbarian, what gun would Conan have carried? So let's talk about it. Conan was created by a fellow by the name of Robert E. Howard, who was a writer for the pulp magazines in the early part of the 20th century, the 1920s, 1930s. And as a teenager, growing up, I kind of had an affinity for Robert E. Howard because, his background was similar to mine. He was a bookish, bullied child growing up. And, he got into physical fitness, into boxing, weightlifting, and then later became a successful writer for the pulp magazines. And I used to read all the Conan stories, all the stories and books that Robert E. Howard had written. I read a lot about Robert E. Howard. And one of the things about that Howard wrote about in his early life is that he spent a period of time where he was packing a gun as a bodyguard for a surveyor. So in the early 1900s, and he did carry it was a 38 that he also carried in his automobile. But in that time period, a lot of people had guns like this. This is Smith & Wesson hand ejector. This is from 1950, but the guns look very similar in the 1920s and 30s. He probably carried a gun like this, or maybe a police positive made by Colt. However, I'm not so sure that Conan would have carried a 38. So let's kind of look at what Robert E. Howard said about his fictional creation, Conan the Cimmerian. Howard said he kind of sprang full grown into his mind one day as he was going into a roadside bar. And it brought to mind, he said Conan had all the qualities of different, it's amalgamation of different bootleggers, different gamblers, different old well bullies, different boxers that he had known. And with some of the elements of the honest workman that he'd come across in his travels in Texas and Oklahoma. And that's kind of a bit contrary, honest character. But, Conan, the character, had a certain rude chivalry and a simplistic honesty about him. So what else did Howard say about his fictional characters? Well, one, he did not care for clever heroes who had to devise, clever ways of getting out of trouble. He would rather have a hero that could slug, cut, or shoot their way out of a bad situation. Now, if we look in that context, 1920s, 1930s, gamblers, bootleggers, all well roughnecks, what kind of gun do you think that Conan might have carried? Well, I'm pretty sure that Conan, if he was carrying a gun, he'd be carrying 1911. Won't be carrying a sissy 38 or a sissy 9mm. He's going to carry some big boy protection. And that fits in with the era that Howard, the elements of his creation came from. Your gangsters, your bootleggers, gamblers, small-time criminals and bullies. Yeah, they probably carry a 1911. Even today, there's a mystique about the 1911 that still captivates people. If Conan lived in our present generation, I'm sure he would probably have been a player in the NFL, maybe, and then gone into some type of gang-related, drug dealing activity. Because you have to remember, Conan was he was a pirate, he was a thief, he was a mercenary soldier. In many ways, he lacked morals in what he did. But anyway, this is Gerson, 1911. Got a few drops of rain on it. It's raining right now. And I picked this up the other day. It seems to be a well-made 1911. It's a bargain 1911. I won't tell you what I paid for it, but it was less than 4 bills. And so far, seems to run pretty well. Trigger's a little stiff. Did have to replace the magazine. The magazine was junk, and I had to replace it with some of the Chip McCormick magazines that come under the Wilson umbrella this day and time. These seem to work very well in this gun. Only shot about 50 rounds through it, but we'll see. I like carrying a 1911. I have 3 currently. A couple of them are the GI 1911s by Rock Island Armory. And, we'll see. We'll give this one a chance. And this is Greg with Lionquest Fitness.